A group of Tory Brexiteers have been branded grand wizards. But by who? BBC political editor Laura Kuenssberg tweeted on Monday that a group of high-up Tory ERG Brexiteers are now being referred to as grand wizards. But we don't know who exactly is actually referring to them by this name. This is all that Laura Kuenssberg tweeted. The Grand Wizards, the new name for the Chequers day trippers apparently, also had another meeting this morning where they discussed again whether they could get on board to back PM's deal, and there was no firm conclusion. Now, of course, the reason this is so controversial is that the term Grand Wizards could possibly be referring to the KKK, but we've no idea where this branding of these people, the ERG MPs, as Grand Wizards even came from. We don't know who exactly came up with this and who exactly is even calling them that. And the media is reporting two completely different stories on this. All Kuenssberg said about this on Twitter was this: "Just catching up on timeline. For avoidance of doubt, a couple of insiders told me using the nickname informally, no intended connection to anything else." So no intended connection to the KKK, but we don't really know what she means by that tweet. Does she mean insiders using the nickname about themselves? Or are these insiders Remainer MPs who are using the nickname to refer to the people in the ERG? Or could those insiders be people who just work in Parliament, who are neither side, who are just using the term jokingly? Nobody is clear on this, but the media has jumped to some conclusions, hasn't it? Because at least two media outlets have jumped to the conclusion that MPs are using this term to refer to themselves. Amazingly, they've jumped to this wild conclusion that these MPs are calling themselves grand wizards. Specifically here, we're talking about Ian Duncan Smith, Boris Johnson, and Jacob Rees-Mogg. Now, for the kind of Tory politicians who spent years denying racism because they're not racist, I very much doubt that they're going to start calling themselves grand wizards. What do you think? But The Independent and The Mirror have jumped to these conclusions. This is what The Mirror reported. A group of Tory hard Brexiteers have reportedly given themselves a very odd nickname. The hardcore group of powerful Tories, which includes Ian Duncan Smith, Boris Johnson and Jacob Rees-Mogg, are understood to have called themselves Grand Wizards. Are they understood to have called themselves Grand Wizards? Because the only source that The Mirror cited in this was Laura Kuenssberg, and she didn't say that they had given themselves the nickname. She didn't say that. And The Independent even reported the same thing. And of course, there's been outrage about this whole situation. George Osborne was really shocked. David Lammy was totally appalled. And Dawn Butler was aghast. But everybody seems to be ignoring the fact that Steve Baker, a prominent Tory Brexiteer within the ERG, said that this wasn't for real. He said this wasn't what was happening. So are we really going to jump to this conclusion just because a couple of media outlets have decided to jump to that conclusion based on no evidence whatsoever? Are we going to let the press invent stories like this? I mean, rather than coming to a wild conclusion based off a vague tweet from a BBC journalist, which could have meant a couple of things, shouldn't the press be asking questions instead? Am I crazy for thinking that? We see no evidence at all that ERG Tory Brexiteers have called themselves Grand Wizards, and in fact, logic dictates that they're probably not going to do that, and I doubt very, very much that they'd be mindless and stupid enough to do something like that. It sounds more like a nickname given to them by political enemies, but what do I know? Wouldn't it be nice if the media in the UK started asking more questions before jumping to wild conclusions? If you like that and want to see more, be sure to like and subscribe and click the little bell button in the corner to make sure you never miss another Rebel video ever again.